Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to Apex Online Racing Sprint Cup season. This is season 16, and it's the summer season. Not that you would know that from a very, very soggy round 4 here at Snetterton in the UK. Typical UK weather. Just coming to the end of free practice now, which has just been unbelievably soggy. So things may change, though, as we move into qualifying in just a moment or two. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Drivers61, and our lovely patrons. Any links and details you might require about those things are in the description below this stream and will be on the video on demand as well. And as of course, any links to our Discord, Apex Online Racing. Come and join us. Lots and lots of racing, lots of different tiers. But this is tier 1 tonight. This is the big boys and girls. This is where it all comes down. So I think there's only one car left out on track at the moment, but we're getting a bit of an idea of the pit at the moment from the lovely drone cam. Right, and here we go. Qualifying is a go. Car's already getting very skittish, just trying to leave the pits. So we had a little bit of a poll going on, just while no one could see what was going on track, but asking who we thought would be our fastest driver this evening in qualifying, whether it was Walsingham, Dauphin, Jardier or Thomas. And at the moment, 42% of you reckon it is Walsingham, so our championship leader is looking like a strong vote to stay out in front. And car number 28 is our first driver out there on the circuit. Let's find out which car is car number 28, and then we can grab them up on the screen. And we can have a little bit of a run through the lap as it goes. We'll jump on board with them for their first flyer. Car number 28. Oh, should have known that. It's Michael Thomas with his brand new livery for us this week. Wild Things Racing, or WTR. Possibly the brightest car out there on track, and probably a good thing for this week's race as well, because they will need all the visibility they can get. It is going to be absolutely mad with spray the whole way through this race. Snetterton, a very, very flat circuit, but it's got lots of technical areas. Not a massive amount of overtaking opportunities, though. Obviously, the straights, they're always a big one for it. But essentially, you've got turn 1, Riches. Sometimes you can be very brave there, but the main one is going to be turn 2, Montreal. That's a big one. Agostini, another corner where it is possible to get an overtake done. But then you're pretty much stuck behind everyone until you get to the exit of Williams down the Bentley Straight, down towards Brundle and Nelson. And then it's kind of a bit of single file again, all the way back to the final turn. But here we go. This is going to be our first flying lap. And in fact, let's try and get a bit of an idea of what it is like on board. Rain hitting the windscreen. It's not too wet out there. It's not flooded, but it is very moist. So comes across early apex and then flicks in for that second apex. All the way to the outside. Not scared of using the white, the red and white paint even in the wet. So flings it across here for turn 2. Slow round, eases on the power, doesn't want to overdo it and light up those rear wheels, gets it back over to the right hand side before moving over to the left. Again, don't get on the throttle too soon. Shifts early, in fact, as well, to try and keep the car tamed. We now come down towards Agostini. A couple of different lines you can take through here. You can see how wet the circuit is off that main racing line, though. So again, another left-hander. Got to be aware of that tyre stack on the inside. Very easy to rotate the car there. Bit of an odd apex here at Oggies. And then again, sort of rounding it out towards Williams. Oh, gets a little bit off on the grass on the outside edge. Just about manages to get it back in for Williams. And now, foot to the floor, Bentley Straight. 2 very long straights here, actually, at Snetterton. Plenty of opportunities for cars to really start reeling out some pace. But then on the brakes into Brundle. Can he get it done for Nelson? Throws it in. Yes, he can. Now down towards the bomb hole. Bit of a difficult one. In the dry, this would be nearly flat, but not here in the wet today. Very unsettled. And now Coram, this long, long right-hander. Again, staying off those curves, trying to keep the line reasonably tight, though, setting himself up now for the final turn. does get it done, and now flat out to the line. So this is going to be our first flying lap. I imagine we're going to see improvements as the wet tire temperatures come up into temp a little bit more, but he's flat out across the line. And it's a 152, was it the first time we had set, but immediately it was beaten by a 151 by Aidan Walsingham. So lap times starting to come in now. There is Aidan. Aidan's just behind him on the circuit. Both these drivers actually on an improvement. We'll stick with Aidan just a minute or two. Oh, Delphante comes in. Big improvement. 151.6. That's a huge chunk of time. It'll be interesting to see who does well here this evening. A lot of these mid-engine cars, I think, might struggle slightly in the wet. I think we're going to see maybe a bit of a rise of the Ford this evening. Two big straights, plenty of opportunities to get the nose down the inside and try and make a move work. But as always, if there is any drivers you want to see, any teams you want to see, anyone you just want to give a quick shout out to, do jump in the chat, let me know. I'll do my darndest to make sure we get it up on the screen. So sticking with Aidan for the moment. He is still improving. But to be fair, so is Delphante. Everyone around them as well. Jardier on a big improvement. Van Thielen, big improvements. Padawan has just nipped into the pits, so obviously deciding something wasn't quite right with the car setup. So through the final turn, now big run to the line. What kind of improvements are we going to see here? Was in second place. Can he get himself up into first for now? He's actually, Delphante's just beaten him. Now he gets himself up there. Jonathan Clifford, who's right there behind him, car number 28, was in 28th place, now up into 10th in that 999 car. Big improvements for that driver. Kubacki as well. 1.1 seconds up on the lap, and very early on in the lap as well. I was expecting to come cut to him and he'd be right in the middle of Coram. But no, he is not. He is right in the middle. I think this is Oggies who's just going through there. And as always, shout out to the custom balance of performance we are running on Apex Online Racing for ACC, meaning that we can get some of these old heroes, the GTR, back in playing with us. It's lovely to see, keeping these slightly older cars and all the cars a bit more equal than maybe the original game keeps it leveled out. So updated all the time, keeping the racing as close as it can possibly be. I should stress to any viewers outside of the UK right now, the in-game weather. Oh, for whatever reason, why did Kubacki disappear? Oh, there he is. For some reason, I had a bit of a wobble there, and Kubacki disappeared off my screen for just a moment. But he is in 30th, coming across the line. Let's see what he does. Still up on his time, up into 21st place. Massive improvement. Straight up there. Right, Jardier's now got himself up into second place. We're going to jump on him. He's just coming down the Bentley straight as we speak. And we've got his livery. We have got the Jardier livery. You have no idea how hard I've tried, but here we go. We have the Jards livery. That lovely Team Veloce 2024. So flies through the bomb hole. Gets it done. Oh, big slide. He manages to hold it. How on earth he held on to that? But that has lost him a lot of time. This will not be an improvement this time round. That big cross up on the arms. That was definitely a Code Brown moment. So from improving to losing half a second, and in fact it now comes into the pit, so obviously not happy with the setup either. Someone who is improving though, Kevin Niles, in that lovely sort of, it says yellow, but it's gold. It's definitely a gold Mustang out there. Beautiful looking car. Thunders up towards the line. It is going to be an improvement. He's running in 14th place at the moment, but it's such a long straight. This is where I would expect the car to gain a bit of an improvement. Up into 12th place, 2 positions gained. Nicely done. Oh, don't careful not to pull too far over. You start impeding people leaving the pits there. Znotins is another driver on an improvement. That is the world's strangest camera angle. Seems to be filming all the way from the other end of the country. But as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by a cameraman changing. Oh, a bit of a tank slapper, and off the circuit he goes. I think a bit of commentator's curse coming on there, and I have yet to finish the sentence that is, anyone outside the UK, the weather in the UK right now could not be more different to what we are experiencing here with Snetterton. It is unbelievably warm. I think it was pushing 30 degrees in the southwest today, which is where I am based. Massive improvements there. They've Padawan up into 11th place, so we're very pleased for that in the Sky Sim Sport McLaren. So drivers near the top, no one is improving that much. We have got Alan Drake Cruz, the BS Competition 2021 car. Flickering back and forth on an improvement, running in 10th place, really good. Snetterton, one of those circuits that a lot of the drivers don't necessarily have that much racing experience with. Oh, and slowed down there though, lost a lot of time. So compared to possibly your more popular circuits, this is one of those tracks where not everyone is completely up on their skills when it comes to it. And that's usually in the dry, let alone when it's in the wet and then you're having to battle your way through a wet circuit as well. So this will be a bit of a learning experience for some of our drivers. Lap after lap, they will just slowly be getting more and more experience, trying to find more speed. Aidan Walsingham is on an improvement, or he was at least for a very brief moment. So there is a possibility of him trying to push that a little bit further forward. At the moment, Delphante and Jardier doing really, really good stuff, first and second. And Aidan is going to be wanting to improve somewhat. It's nearly half a second between him and Delphante. So you look at the cars, they're both mid-engined, sort of low race cars. It shows just how different the setups and the drivers can be in different conditions. We'll stick with Aidan to the line. What are we going to get? Is there going to be any improvement? It's very, very close. And it was an improvement, but not enough to gain a position. Josh Waring with a G-League Esports Elite Porsche. Lovely yellow and grey livery. He is on a big improvement though. Currently 0.3 up on his lap. But should see him gain a couple of positions. Currently coming down the Bentley Straight, so he's on the back half of the circuit. Keeping it very tidy indeed. This Porsche is probably going to be struggling ever so slightly with understeer, I would imagine. A lot of moisture. Obviously back down to the 60-minute race format that we normally do. This is not one of our extended rounds. It's just a 60-minute race, so mandatory pit stop, and they have to have the tyres changed. But you are not allowed to refuel, so it's going to be interesting to see how this car's characteristics change throughout the race. So Josh Waring, 4th place. Absolutely fantastic stuff for him. He'd be very, very pleased with that 4th place. Toro Grossa, who we have not seen much of on the stream so far today. We're car number 217 currently holding on to the final position inside the top 10. He's 0.3 up on his lap though. This should see him jump up a few positions on the grid. Oh, apologies about that one. A little bit of a family emergency at home. The joys of doing commentating from the spare room. So, qualifying has now come to an end, so apologies it went a little bit radio silence on that one. But at the moment, Del Fante has held on to pole position in that number 71 Honda. But Barrier did come along in the end to take away second place, and Walsingham has now got third place. So top steps on the podium for qualifying have now been decided. Just seeing in the chat there, got a shout out. That is actually from BS Competition, cheering on their driver. Let's see where he is at the moment. 14th place is Alan Cruz. Decent position. As again we said, one of those tracks where it is not somewhere you overly practice, and it's not somewhere you overly practice at all in the wet. So very, very nicely done there. A couple of cars still to come across the line, so we won't go through the proper grid order. But for the moment, it is looking like Del Fante, Barrier, Walsingham, and Giardier are in the front two rows. Still a few cars to come across though, so we will just have to wait and see what people are doing. Aiden is still out there, not improving. Is there anyone out there on an improvement that we can pull up and have a look at? It's looking like anyone that is out there is kind of staying as they are. That's it. Aiden was looking to try and improve, but nope, no improvement for him there. So that is the end of qualifying. It's been an immensely wet race weekend here so far. It has to be said, it's looking like a bit of a soggy one. So no doubt it is going to be mighty soggy when we move to the race as well. Obviously the weather is a little bit dynamic, but I think the all the rain settings were kind of wound right up for this one. Try and give us a bit of a change. Bit of a wet one. So now cars forming on the grid. Let's move over to the lovely cam that we love so much. Let's see if this works. There it is. Right. So let's run through our grid order for this evening, and plus a bit of a chance to have a bit of a nose at those lovely liveries that people have put together. So Eric Del Fante in first place. Valentine Barrier joins him on the front row in second. Aidan Walsingham in third place. Giardier lines up next to him in fourth. Remy Papp in fifth. Josh Waring in sixth place. Alex Torregrossa seventh. The Padawan in eighth position. Michael Thomas in the world's brightest BMW. And good Lord, you're not going to miss that this evening. In ninth place. And Van Thielen in 10th place. Kirsten's Znottins in 11th place. Kristen's Podens, pair of them together, in 12th place. 13th place is Buzov. Andrei Cruz in 14th place. Novikov in 15th. Clifford is in 16th place. Kevin Niles down in 17th place. Kubaki in the GTR in 18th place. Kumpo in 19th place. Saniel Tadic in 20th. Benjamin King 21st. Giardinetto in 22nd place. Hanowitz in 23rd place. Matt York, he is back again and in 24th place. Gaston Delabra in 25th. Libulas, oh, God, goodness gracious, sorry, I have quite the mouth ulcer at the moment, so even saying words is coming a bit difficult. Alexander Lubalaski in 26th place. Skylar Loverink down in 27th. Chris Vining 28th. Antonio Vidic 29th, Daniel Fernandez 30th, Bosk in 31st, Asicek in 32nd, Vujanovic 33rd, and rounding out the grid in 34th position is Murkowski. Oh, everybody breathe. Everyone get a bit of a taste of what my voice is going to sound like this evening. I apologise in advance for the fact that my voice sounds a bit tatty, shall we say. Not the best voice in the world, I'm afraid. Still getting over the gross cold that meant I couldn't do Tier 2 last time. Quick shout out to Domino, who covered for me in the Tier 2 Tuesday race. It was very much appreciated. So, about a minute left until the formation lap begins. And you know what? Great opportunity to have a little look at the championship points. So, At the moment, Aidan Walsingham is leading the championship, hasn't been off the podium all season long with 258 points. Then Eric Delfante with 232 points is in second. Valentine Barrier is in third. Alex Torregrossa in fourth. Jensel van Thielen in fifth place. Giardi Aidan in sixth. Michael Thomas seventh. Alan Drake Cruz in eighth. Remy Papp in ninth. Kristen Podens in 10th. And Krista's Znottins. God, it's going to be so difficult to make sure I just go with Podens and Znottas, I think, in 11th. So that is your top 10 in the overall championship as well. In fact, we even have teams. We have teams here this evening. I don't think anyone's surprised to see that Veloce is winning the championships, the team championship at the moment with 430 points. Then Winning Rush GP is in second. G-Liga Freedom is in third. Digital Racing Systems T1 in fourth. And Sky Simsport is in fifth. Quite the points gap, to be fair, between first and second. 220 points, but they have got some pretty massive drivers racing for them. Obviously, you think you've got Aidan and Jardier both putting in points. But between the second place, Winning Rush GP and G-Liga Freedom, 210 points versus 209 points. So 1 point between them. So realistically, any subtle change in the grid order is going to make a big difference to the team championship. Team orders be damned. I would be very surprised if row 2, Walsingham and Giardier keep it very nicey. I imagine they will want to go for that overall win. In fact, let's see if we can get a bit of a shot of some of these cars that I know for a fact did not show up nicely on the camera. So it was Remy Pappin. Absolutely stunning livery on this car. It is a fantastic looking vehicle, that G-Liga Esports Elite. Very smart bit of kit, that one. Also the first time, again, I've seen any of the Ford Mustangs here. First time I've seen them race at Snetterton. I believe it is Podens is our next one in the Ford. And it looks like a mirror image. Basically the exact same car. And then it's Kevin Niles as well. He's in that lovely gold car. Does look fantastic. Oh, almost coming to a complete stop. Going all the way down the gears, probably going to reel it back up. Then we have Matt York for York Sport Racing. Obviously Garage 44 and Track Titan obviously sponsoring him. Very nice to see. A lovely looking car. And I think that is all of the Ford. So everyone else's liveries should have been nicely showcased at the beginning of the race, during the formation and pit walkthrough. But here we go. This is now getting to the point where cars are going to be starting to stack up. They are still only getting to the end of the Bentley Straight, but cars will be starting to stack up. We are going to go over to the drone cam to try and get a bit of a shot and try and keep an eye on as much as possible during the first part of the race. Obviously, we will go back for replays if possible, but sometimes you've got to stick with the action that's happening live, and otherwise you get stuck in a constant loop of going back and forth, watching replays after replay. So hopefully everybody keeps it quite clean, but very nice to see that you've got a team on row 2 and a team on row 3. So 2 G-Liga cars and 2 Veloce Esports cars as well. Eerily quiet from the old drone cam. No one's fired up the engines and gone for it quite yet, so it's eerily quiet. So it's a very, very long run all the way to the start of this one. Hopefully, this is going to look how we want it to look. So my timing screen, for whatever reason, is now showing Aidan in second place, but he shouldn't be. He should be in third. So I think that's a bit of a timing board error. No doubt that will change, but now green lights are a go, and straight away out of the gate, Walsingham pulls ahead of his teammate, and is immediately on the charge there. He's right on the back of Valentine barrier. It looks to me like everyone's made it through turn 1 at the moment. Jard's back on the attack, going around the outside into turn 2. They do ever so slightly rub, but not so much to really cause too many issues. But Jards and Walsingham still absolutely squabbling it out at the moment. And you can see as well in the background, cars are 2 by 2 the whole way round. Alfante already starting to escape. These two just about holding on to it, dropping back a little bit further. You can see we've got Torregrossa being chased down by Thomas. And wait for the time board to sort itself out so I can work out which one of the many cars that is. Trying to go around the outside, and they're very, very close. This is where it becomes a little bit of a procession. I think that is one of the Znottins. Yes, it is. Oh, and off the circuit it goes. It's going to have to be a bit of a risky rejoin. Nicely done, though. Does just about do it safely. Oh, and I think there's a little bit of concertinaing going on further back in the field as well. No yellow flags flying, but I think there was a couple of cars getting mighty, mighty close to each other. Right, we're going to jump back on board with the front drivers just for a moment as they come down now to the end of the Bentley Straight. Oh, and we have got a yellow flag, and that was for car number 524. Not going to go back to the replay on that one. We're a bit too early on in the race to be risking replays at this point. Do let me know in the chat if they... Oh, there's been a big crash. There's something bad's happened there. Let's go back. Let's see if we can grab that one. We're going back 30 seconds. We will go to Helicam. So we saw 290 was involved. I don't know if that necessarily... They initiated the crash, but it was the first one that showed up to me as being able to be seen. He looks to the inside. Oh, and there's already kind of stuff going on. Cars going everywhere. Big old pile up, people trying to avoid, but as soon as they hit the wet grass, that's about it. I would say for a very wet Snetterton lap 1, that wasn't too bad. But again, this is the second wet race in a row, so... Oh, now kind of a 256 was very briefly yellow flagged then as well. Number 256, grab them quickly. Was it 256? Pretty sure it was. And that is Kumpo. So let's go back 30 seconds, see if we can spot what happened with that one as well. Again, sticking with the drone cam, keeping us all up in the air. Was this just the case of outbrake themselves? Oh, yeah, it did get rotated. And other cars as well, I think, struggling with the conditions. People rejoining, just about keeping that sensible. But even though they've rejoined, they're still in the middle of a battle. You'd think normally if you rotate sort of early in the race, you wouldn't have anyone to battle with. But no, they are still absolutely neck and neck. And speaking of battles going on, Delfante did break away a little bit at the beginning, but now it looks like he's maybe not continuing to do the same. But Valentine Barrier now has the Veloce boys all over him, sticking to him like a very wet rain mac. One of those lovely plastic ponchos you get at racetracks as well, sticking to him in the rain, sticking everywhere you don't want it to, and nowhere you do want it to. But the battle for second place is super hot at the moment. Right, let's go jump back. Oh, and we've got another car rotating round. That was kind of a 69. And that was Podens, and Podens is dropping down my order so quick I can't get the camera to select them. There we go. Going back, so this was coming through the final turn, so not Coram, but actually it was the left-hander here. What happens? Was it just a mistake? Oh, kind of a 214 gets into the back of him. Definitely wasn't intentional, but either way, that definitely was a big hit. And just trying to get the Mustang facing the right direction in the wet, appearing to be quite difficult as well. Those tyres just not giving him any kind of grip out there on the grass, struggling to get the car going. But did keep us safe for the rejoin, and that is the main thing. Jodier is now set the fastest lap of the race, currently running in 3rd place. So he has got in front of his teammate Walsingham, but this little battle further back. Busov, Snottins, Clifford, Novikov. This little squabble going on. Absolutely nothing between these drivers at the moment. Again, it's one of those things you know where your normal braking spots are, but as soon as this wet comes along, it does make a bit of a difference. Are we going to see anything here down at the end of the Bentley straight? It's going to have to be very brave. Anything is going to happen. No, it doesn't. But now the Lentil, Van Thielen, is dropping back into the clutches of these drivers. We saw him have a little incident earlier, and in fact, through goes... It was Nottins. It was Nottins going through, and actually Clifford having a little look up the inside as well. No, he's not. He's now being taken. Some very, very close driving going on in this early stage of the race. Not even 6 minutes of this race done. And still, cars nose to tail and squabbling it out. And Buzov in the sector blitz racing, Lamborghini, running in 13th place as they come across the line, is being hounded by the group of cars behind. Jumping back to this lead battle that is now heating up quite a bit. Valentine Barrier is absolutely being swamped by Jardier. He is going to be desperate to try and get past. And in fact, let's see if we can get a look over that rear wing. And we do. We can look over the rear wing now. He's come down towards Agostini, who is bravest. And to be fair as well, look, Remy Papin brought that Mustang to life and is really starting to get his chase on. And for a while, it looked like Barrier was going to be the one who was having a really close race. But now, it is starting to look a little bit more like Aiden is going to get past Jardier. In fact, let's go back onto Jardier's wing and get a bit of an idea. The big V8 rumble coming off of the Aston Martin. Good run off the corner, down the Bentley straight they go. Is Aiden going to be super, super brave? No, but look at the straight line speed the Mustang has. Absolutely ridiculous. Just drove past Aiden. Aiden's going to have the second corner, and he has still got the inside, but you can see just how quick Remy Papin is in a straight line. He must be running absolutely zero wing. That was unbelievably quick and nearly came around the outside of Jardier. I mean, around the outside of Walsingham. This is where Walsingham should have the advantage, but I'd be very surprised if he can hang on to this advantage as we continue on this part of the circuit. And we are now going to go on the dashboard of the Mustang as it unleashes all of its American fury. He looks to the inside for turn one. Can he do anything? No, has to back out and whip in, and that lost him quite a bit of time. Possibly should have maybe abandoned that move ever so slightly earlier and then dropped back in slightly earlier. You see Michael Thomas is having a little look up the inside of Terra Grossa there. And these lot have really, really closed up. Here we go. We've got Wolf Palawan, Sky Simsport, car number 12, running in 7th place at the moment. He's got Josh Waring just in front of him in the Porsche. And then Toro Grosso and Thomas squabbling it out just behind as well. Oh, car number 52 we have just seen a yellow flag for. That is Skylar Lovering. So what happened there for Skylar? Got a very, very feisty looking Aston Martin right behind him as he got up towards, that was turn 1. Was there contact? This is down towards turn 2. This is where the yellow flag was. No, just goes off the circuit. So, not sure what happened there, whether that was a technical issue or something happened, but the car just had to come to a complete stop and turn. So, not sure. Maybe, possibly a mistake pressed inside and the car had to be stopped to be restarted. Can happen. If you switch the ignition, you do have to come to a complete stop before the car will restart. Back on board with car number 12, who's now taking the fight to Josh Waring. So apologies if there are any breaks in commentary this evening. Yeah, still getting over my awful cold. So I doubt any of you want to hear me coughing my guts up. So I will be just, you know, going quiet from time to time. As has always happened this time of year, as I completely destroy my voice while I'm yelling at motorsport. And it is absolutely fantastic to watch. This little pack of 4 still really are the main ones to keep an eye on. Jardier is now catching up with the back of Barrier, though. Let's jump to this battle. Tell a lie, it's actually Walsingham catching back up with Jards. So maybe that McLaren's just taking a little bit longer to turn the tyres on. Luckily from this position you can also look back and see a fair few of the cars squabbling it out in the back of the shot as well. We've got a nice battle going on here though in the infield. And York does manage to get up the inside. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? It's going to be difficult through Hamilton. Doesn't manage to hold on to it. Car number 38 just go for it. So here we go. Hanowitz is going to be trying to out-drag York Sport down the back straight. It's going to be very difficult down the Bentley straight. I'm very intrigued to see whether he can hold it off. We saw from how far back earlier on the Mustang could pull, and he has closed the gap right up, but not close enough to actually make a move down here. Might be able to do something towards the end of the main straight. Possibly get it done before Richards. Car number 39 now with the yellow flag. And that was Jards. Jardier has got a yellow flag. So what happened there? We're going to jump back. Oh, there could be some very, very angry team orders going on, I think. Oh, no, I think it was a self-inflicted mistake. He just went out onto the grass. I'm surprised that showed a yellow flag, because that was pretty much nothing. So unless something else happens here... Oh, and yes, it does. Aiden does send him flying. Oh, and then a bit of a wobbly rejoin there. It's got to be said from Jards. Very nearly taking out Alan Cruz. That was very close. I not one of Jardier's best moments, should we say, that we've ever had on stream. Right, back to another battle. Toro Rosso versus Thomas. This one is still raging on. Two of the brightest BMWs to ever exist. And you can now see Jardier in the background of this shot. He's dropped back a fair old bit, back into 11th place. So his teammate absolutely biffed him back down the order. And probably understandably. He's probably a little bit miffed about that one. I think one of the main rules they teach you in racing is don't take out your teammates. Don't hit your teammates. Obviously not good if you hit anyone, but hitting your teammates is a bit of a double whammy. You're not gaining an advantage over anyone, you're literally taking out yourself and your teammates. So hopefully both his cars aren't carrying too much damage. I think it was just the case of the very low grip levels accentuating it and making it look worse than it actually was. Toro Rosso has sort of answered the challenge by Thomas and is trying to open up the gap. Oh, big slide there from the Padawan. That would have really affected his corner exit speed. And now he's going to have two BMWs thundering up behind him, and three in not long as well. You can also see Drake really starting to pull up. Sorry, Cruz. I do apologise. Oh, and again, the McLaren goes way offline. He's going to get the braking done. He did get back onto the circuit. Walsingham's come into the pit, so he's obviously got front end damage. But now this has allowed Thomas to finally get a nose in front, but he's going to be on the outside here. Is he going to try and run around the outside? He is! There is no run-off for him. They do give each other space, but that just did not quite work. The two of them squabbling meant that they weren't able to actually end up getting past Padawan, and so after two little mistakes, he does just about hold on to it. There was a brief yellow flag there. Who was that for? That's car number 25 something. 187 has now got a yellow flag as well. So car number 187, that is a Vidic. And then again, another car struggling to get itself going. So this is a turn 2. And there we go. So that was the rub. That was the 256 car that we saw. With a very brief yellow flag. Does manage to get itself going. But then immediately 187 makes a mistake. Touching the grass on the outside edge of the circuit, just trying to set themselves up for that fast left-hander. Didn't work, over-rotated the car, and that is it, and then out on the grass. And you can see we're back on the main thing, and they're still trying to get themselves sort of back up and going, so I'm not sure if that car is feeling particularly unsettled. So Toro Rosso still holding on to 6th place at the moment. Oh, and in the background we have multiple cars going off. Car number 15. Oh, that is of Alan Drake Cruz. So let's go back 30 seconds. We'll go to the drone cam, get a bit of an overshot. So we've just come through bomb hole, and now... Oh no, sorry, that is bomb hole there. Coming up towards Coram. I can see the way these cars are handling in the wet. They're just, especially these front-engine rear-wheel drive cars, where they're just sliding out. Oh, and he does get a bit of a bump there. Big old bump from the Ferrari. Luckily doesn't pick up any more damage outside of that. I don't think it's going to be enough, but he has come into the pits, so have to see how that one goes. I'm not sure why he's come into the pits. Maybe he's just thinking get himself some clean air, get his mandatory pit stop done early. Maybe that's also what Walsinger was thinking, especially after he had that bump earlier on. He's probably thinking to himself, let's have a bit of a reset, shall we? Hanowitz, the team Shumi Skins, chasing after the back of Matt York, but is very much being closed in by Saniel Tadej in that 100 Ferrari. The entire field is starting to spread out. Pretty much all the circuit is currently covered by cars, and there's nice little clusters of battles going on everywhere. I will say, even with that pit stop, Einar Walsingham is only in 26th place, so he is still inside the top 30. So it'll be interesting to see after the pits have sort of really started to come in, how people go for this. As you said, you have to do at least one pit stop. Well, yeah, you have to do your mandatory one pit stop, and then we can go from there. You have to change tyres, but no fueling is allowed. So for Armenterio Software, Lubalowski, getting that lovely 398 split liveried V10 Audi, absolutely screaming up the main straight at the moment. And he's got some pretty close cars behind him. He's got Giardinetto pretty close behind. But let's have a little bit of a look as to what's going on here. Right, so we have had our first incident coming in, and this is a 15-second penalty, and this is car number 67 involved with an incident with car number 524 on lap 1, and car number 67, that is quickly running through my numbers if I can see it quickly, and I'm probably not going to be able to because I am utterly blind. I can. That's Asia Czech. So running in 20th place at the moment and is going to get a 15-second penalty. So that was lap 1. That was very early on. It wasn't a big incident we saw, but still, lap 1, you've got to be extra careful. Lots of cars around you. I feel it's only right we try. There we go. We go on board and we get to listen to a little bit of Audi V10 goodness screaming its way down the Bentley Straight as we speak. So through Brundle into Nelson. One of those cars where the traction control, car number 16 has just got a yellow flag, and I don't really know why. They were all on their own. Who was car number 16? Let's see if we can grab them. That is Delabra. So we'll go back 30 seconds. We'll nip to the drone cam. So swings through turn 1 and just loses traction on the exit. Obviously still trying to run super low TC. And the car just opening up the back end. And round it went. Awkward spot to try and get yourself going again as well. You've got so many cars absolutely flying on that part of the circuit. Always going to be a difficult one, but he does get himself going. So still Talish versus Hanowitz. Nice little squabble going on. Just about 20 minutes of the race done. Oh, Hanowitz goes a little, sorry, Tadic goes a little bit deep there. Loses some ground, but Matt York in front as well. Still rumbling on, pushing hard in front of again, at least the Mustangs do have the advantage of just being so absolutely ballistic missile fast down the straights. It means they can just do what they need to do and start pushing away. Some easy overtake opportunities possibly given. But Kevin Niles is well in front of him. I'm trying to see if there's any really close stuff going on. At the moment, people have kind of settled into this a little bit. Giardinetto, kind of 115. Sort of flittering about these three. Slavowski, Giardinetto and Kumpo, three drivers, they sort of get themselves very close together, and I think once they're then forced to come off the racing line to try and make moves, that's when they start to drop back again. It's very hard to try and make any kind of overtaking advantage here. But Toro Grosso into the pits, Saniel Tadic into the pits as well, and I think we might see a move here. The Audi does move across. He made his one defensive move and then he's moved across the racing line, so that was technically clean. And it worked absolutely perfectly in Carnival 115. Giardinetto lost so much time there. I think simply because of that move across the front. More cars coming into the pits as well. Makowski, Kumpo into the pits as well. That's why they disappeared off the back of the battle we were keeping an eye on. So let's have a little jump back towards the front while everyone is just sorting themselves out. So our current leader and fastest lap setup with a 1:51.5 is Eric Delfante in that lovely number 71 Honda, and it's going very, very nicely in the NSX here this evening. MG ITJ setups he's racing for. Been a very strong driver this season. Not his best finish last time, but he was on the podium twice in a row, and then he had, I think it was 6th he came last time round. And then following on behind him is Valentine Barry. I don't know why on earth I went to go for Remy Papin straight away. He's back there in that bright yellow one. So there we go, Valentine Barrier as well, doing very nice in the, and here comes the Honda. His fastest lap, a 1:51.7, so 200th of a second slower on his best lap, and in fact he was significantly slower last time around than Delfante as well. Remy Papin, currently running in 3rd place, G Liga Esports Elite, lovely Mustang. And then I think there's a back marker between him and Josh Waring. There's some big old gaps starting to open up here inside the top 5, and rounding up the top 5, there it is, it's Giardier after his spin earlier on. Yeah, seeing some people saying about the Honda in the wet. Yeah, pretty sure it is fairly strong in the wet. Although we can't say that definitely, because Delfante and Barrier are also just sort of forces onto themselves as well. They are very, very fast. Toro Grosso, immediately comes out into the back of a battle car number 12 right in front of him. And that is the Padawan, who is going to be bravest. Car number 256, we've got a yellow flag. I'm not going to jump to that one quite yet. That looks like they probably just lost it on their own. This is what we're going to keep an eye on. This has just emerged from the pits. I'm interested to see where Thomas is. Thomas is right way in front of them now. So during the pit stop period, Thomas obviously made the right call and he has gained a lot of ground over these two. We saw him going for it, but yes, here you go. Undercut by Michael Thomas. Absolutely fantastic manoeuvre. Got it done so it wasn't squabbling, and while these two are squabbling, they're going to continue to fool away. They might need to at some point kind of put their differences aside and just go for it. But to be fair, Padawan has done a really good job of turning those tyres on. So Toro Grosso having a little look to the inside. Just see that Matt York is also now coming into the pits. So still getting it done before the halfway point. It's looking like it's going to be pretty much a downpour until the very end of the race. Matt York with a 15-second penalty. What has happened there? Let's have a quick look at Stewart's board. Let's see what has happened there. So this was involving car number 1665, which is Matt York, and 992 on lap 1. 20-second time penalty for car number 65 and 3 licence points. And Matt York is responsible for causing a moderate avoidable collision in lap 1, turn 2. So 20-second penalty there for Matt York. Absolute stinger, was doing really well and does a decent job of climbing up the order. All that hard work is now being undone, sadly. So our top 3 are still out. None of them have pit as of yet. So a quick check-in with Alan Drake Cruz, who we saw earlier on, obviously got involved in that incident where he was punted off at the final turn. Running in 22nd place at the moment. He's definitely going to gain a position over Matt York. I imagine that won't be sort of, you know, too much of a consolation prize, but I would imagine that the live stewarding here, put together by Apex Online Racing, they will be, as we speak, going through the incidents. They're still trying to deal with all the turn 1 stuff. It's not just a case of immediately slapping the penalty on the obvious person. They need to have a good look through everything. So yeah, live stewarding going on for Tier 1, and then on Tuesdays when Tier 2 and beyond all race together, well, in their separate lobbies, all at the same time though, then it is all done post-race. So Del Fante has pulled away nearly a 2-second lead, but he now finds himself in amongst traffic. Just having a little look there. Was that Terra Grossa that we can see all sorts of by himself? Because he was right in the middle of a squabble, and now he's not. So I'm not sure what's happened there. I don't know if Terra Grossa dropped right back. I'm sure someone at home is screaming at me for not putting that on the stream. Do apologise if we missed that battle going on. Tadic, here we go. Here's a close one. Tadic versus Makowski. 100 versus 11. Ferrari versus Aston Martin. Now you would imagine the Aston is possibly going to have this in a straight line, but will he be brave enough into turn 1? Not quite close enough to make an attack. Who's going to be bravest on the throttle here and run it out? Down towards turn 2. He does look to the inside. Doesn't fully commit to it though. But does get a much tighter line on exit. Tries to get the overlap down towards turn 3. Can he get it done? I don't think he's going to be able to. They swing through Palmer. And they stick side by side. The Aston getting a little bit unsettled as he left that curb. A little bit of a kick on the back end. I think the fact that the weight isn't over the rear wheels, maybe just unsettling the car a little bit more than the Ferrari, because they both followed nearly the exact same line. At the moment, Tadic is doing a stellar job of holding off Makowski. Again, absolutely toe-to-toe. They're coming towards the Bentley straight now, though. This is where the Aston should be able to sort of stretch its muscles and see what it can do. The Ferrari, absolutely no slouch whatsoever, but has to be said that that Aston is very good in a straight line. Remy Papin, Josh Waring and Buzov all into the pits as well now. Oh, more drivers as well. Chris Vining, Kevin Niles. Oh, car number 290. That has got a yellow flag out for it. Let's see if we can find them. That is Damien Bosk. And sadly, I think that might have also been a disconnect. Unable to select that car to go back to watch it. Car number 12 now with a yellow flag. And that is down at turn 1. So that's a big place to go off. And that was the Padawan. That was the Padawan at turn 1. So what happened there? So that's coming on to the pit straight. He looked a little bit unsettled. Oh, I have a horrible feeling this might be involving a Porsche in front of him. Porsche moves out to the racing line. No, it doesn't. Oh! And the Padawan just can't get the car turned into the corner. So whether or not that was a sort of a mistake, he's seemingly still in control of the car. I wonder if he just maybe just mistimed the turn in. It was a bit too late and hadn't scrubbed off enough speed and just threw it in. But that car has now found itself on the exit of turn 1, right in the barriers. That was a big, big hit. So Del Fante's still staying out. Valentine Barrier has now come into the pits. Tadic still squabbling it out with Mikowski. These two drivers also going to gain positions with that Mac York penalty still rolling in front of them. But Kristen's Podens all over the back of them, chasing them down the road now. This is where Podens is going to be able to start really, really pushing forward. Oh, another one coming in. Benjamin King, the 992. That has now got a 20-second penalty. This two-way battle has now just become a three-way battle. In the space of a few corners, this is now really starting to heat up. And the two of these two, Tadic and Mikowski, are probably thinking to themselves, we're going to get done now on the main straight. This is where that Ford is going to have its big, big advantage. And Podens is absolutely no slouch behind the wheel either. A very fast driver, and he gets a lovely exit. He's going to be hoping to open up the taps now and see what he can do. Can he make up enough ground to get the inside into turn 1? There's traffic in front of him. Well, you can already see there Mikowski going defensive and also on the attack at the same time. Goes to the inside. Very brave stuff. Everybody giving each other room. And actually now, Tadic almost loses 2 positions. I think he does a little bit of paint scraping. There's definitely some white where there was yellow, and there's definitely some yellow where there was white before. But yes, there we go. Through goes Podens and Mikowski. They both get past Tadic in the space of 2 corners. And Tadic should be kicking himself about that one. Oh, okay, here comes some of the big, big penalties. Inquiry involving car number 11, 16, 52, 115, 187, 223, 290, 298 and 992 on lap 1. 40-second time penalty for car number 290 and 3 license points. 20-second penalty for car number 992. 10-second penalty for car number 187 and a 10-second penalty for car number 115. 992 and 290 are paused for the incident in this corner, and then car number 187 and 115 received penalties for dangerous driving, obviously when the yellow flags were out. So, big penalties coming in at the moment. So drivers that haven't pitted, very few and far between. In fact, there are even fewer and far between now. It is just Jardier and Snottins. So it'd be interesting to see how long Jard stays out for. Normally the undercut is the way to go, but obviously he found himself in a bit of clean air and has decided to keep pushing forward. Another incident as well, car number 69 and car number 214, lap 2, 15-second penalty for car number 214. And car number 69, that is one of our... Oh, there we go. We're just hearing now from the team, from Sky Simsport, Padawan's screen froze just before the braking zone. So essentially, he suddenly had no idea where the car was. Almost like your bonnet popping up in front of you and not being able to see the track. Suddenly completely unaware of what was going to be going on in front. So actually very lucky there wasn't any traffic around, because that could have been quite the bad incident. Number 214, and that is Van Thielen also picking up a penalty. It was that one we just spoke about a moment or two ago. So this little one now going on, which is Clifford versus, well, it's saying on my timing screen Padawan, but it's not, because Padawan has left, so he's unavailable. So I think that is it. I think he's now retired from the race. Understandable after that technical issue. Oh, and here we go. We have another one coming in now. So car number 38 and car number 100 involved in an incident on lap 4, and that was a push to pass. And car number 38 pushes to pass. So 10-second penalty for car number 38. was a kind of a 38. Let's have a look. That was Hanowitz. So Hanowitz picking up a 10-second penalty as well. So Team Shumi Skins will not be happy about that. That's going to be a lot of position changing post-race. So how they cross the line once those penalties start rolling in is going to be very different. Here we go though. Valentine Barrier once again battling it out with Aidan Walsingham. Absolutely nothing between them. Nibbling at his heels like an angry dog at the postman. Aidan very much on the attack. Those tyres are going to be much, much older though. He pitted very early in the race. I think it was only like maybe lap 3 he came in. And more penalties coming in as well now. So, cars involving car number 100, 256, lap 2, 22nd penalty for car number 100. And that is Tadic causes a moderate avoidable collision. So Tadic as well picking up a penalty. There's lots and lots of penalties this evening. Poor stewards absolutely working their fingers to the bone. But while they are furiously trying to keep the racing as clean and as competitive as possible, these two are out there absolutely trying to fight over the same space on the circuit. Snottins and Jards still haven't pitted, so it'd be interesting to see when they do pit, unless they're going for a really, really late one. This is Snottins, car number 77, and trying to work out which car that is just behind him, because it was saying they're in a battle, but I don't think they technically are. I think that is, they're on different laps, and obviously one is a pitted driver and one is not. So Snottins still out there trying to do what they can do. I think that's kind of a 16 we just saw there, which will be Delubra, who is currently running down in 29th place. So not quite the close battle it looked like from the outside. But this one is a close battle. Valentine Barrier versus Aidan Walsingham. Here we go. Jonathan Clifford versus Makowski versus Podens. Nice little three-way battle going on for 13th place. And let's do what we do love to do so much, and let's look over the rear wing. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman. Of this 999 Lamborghini. You can see it trying to get itself anchored up and going. Just about to come onto the Bentley straight. This is where the Mustang is going to be trying to do what it does best. But a bit of a slow exit, I think, there. Actually, through Williams, not the best turn they could have done. Just look at the way Makowski is throwing that Aston in. Super strong in the braking here. Really surprised to see how well this such a big car just throws itself in. So through bomb hole, you can still see the absolute ginormous barrel of a car behind. It's amazing that you can see the Ford over the top of the Aston Martin. The Aston is not a small car at all, but you can still just see the giant car, and I'm pretty sure you can start to hear the pair of those engines as well now. You can now see the Aston reeling in the back of Jonathan Clifford. It's going to be super close. They go towards turn 1. We go to the drone cam. They're still side by side, and also now Podens looking to take advantage of it. He's going to have the inside line down into turn 2. He has got a decent overlap. Super early braking there though from Clifford, obviously not feeling quite as confident, and through goes Podens, and that I think really did play into his hands absolutely perfectly and managed to get through. So now can Podens start to fight back? Oh no, here we go. Clifford's still not happy with that. Now he's got to the infield, he's saying, hang on guys, you might be quicker than me in a straight line, but around these twisty bits, I have the advantage. Going to be difficult to get a move done here though. Really needs to be in front before they get onto the Bentley straight. I don't think he's going to be able to with only one corner to go. it is now going to be a case of the frustration of watching these two pull away from him. Oh, and here we go. Right. So many of them coming in now. Right, incident involving car number 13, 15 and 39 on lap 5. 20-second time penalty for car number 13. And 2 licence points, and 5-second penalty for car number 39. Aidan Walsingham was responsible for avoidable contact. Jardier also receives a penalty for the way he rejoined the circuit, so for unsafe rejoin. So 2 of our top drivers have now picked themselves up penalties for not keeping it clean when they really needed to. So Aidan, with a 20-second penalty, is going to tumble down the order, and that is exactly what he did not want to see. His main championship rivals are not going to be having those issues. And then Jardier, after that rejoin that nearly caused big issues for Alan Drake Cruz, is also facing a 5-second penalty. So that is going to see him dropping down the order. Obviously not quite so badly, but still, that is not what he's going to want. So suddenly, the top of the championship is going to get a bit of a shake-up, I think. And just having a quick jump on board, Matt York suddenly having a nice little battle with Novikov. But obviously with that 20-second penalty, Novikov's already got this position. He's already absolutely trouncing him. He's going to be flying on pie. I think he's probably going to be getting Van Thielen as well. So they are squabbling it out on track. But they almost don't need to. And another one coming in here now. So car number 222, 290 and 524 on lap 7. 15-second time penalty for car 290 and a licence point. Damien Bosk is responsible for causing a collision. Apparently they did note that the position was returned, so they did give the position back, but still 15-second penalty. And seeing a bit of a chat in here for car number 95. Nikola Buzov, Sector Blitz Racing. And in fact, we've got Ben Milden here in the chat from Sector Blitz Racing. Am I right in believing that that Buzov is a female driver? I might be mistaken. Someone the other day mentioned that one of the Tier 1 drivers was female, and I felt very bad that I haven't at any point used the correct verbiage. It's not verbiage. It's I've forgotten the word. I do apologise so badly. I made a mistake on that one as well. But there we go. So I don't know if Ben can let me know in the YouTube chat. But yeah, 11th place, just outside the top 10. And realistically, looking at the time penalties in front of them, 20 seconds for Aidan and 5 for Jardier. Oh, apparently no, that's not Nico. Apologies. It's not Nico. So there we go. There was, I'm sure somebody said that there was a female driver in Tier 1, and up to this point I was not informed, and obviously due to the names all looking very much similar, and some of them not being necessarily obvious sort of English-speaking names, as I'm used to, I do occasionally make the mistake. So if you are at home and you know who that is, do let me know, but don't take the mickey in the chat, please, too much, because it's happened before, where me and Rage have been tricked in the past into thinking that someone was using different pronouns than they were. Not the best look for us when that happens. But going back to someone who is definitely going to gain a position, Remy Papin, for the G Liga Esports Elite, chasing after these two at the moment. Still putting in very good lap times as well. See Josh Waring, this little squabble coming up with Terra Grossa. Again, this is a battle on track, sorry, that is going to go to the end. At the moment, neither of these drivers have any kind of penalties to their name. So how it finishes on the track. So yeah, how this finishes on track is how it is going to be after the race. Unless there's any post-race penalties, which we sometimes get in Tier 1. It's very rare. Usually it's a case that the stewards get pretty much everything. And speaking of penalties, car number 214 and car number 999 on lap 19. 20-second penalty for car number 214 and 2 licence points. And that is Jentel the Lentil Van Thielen receives the penalty for moderate avoidable contact. So another penalty coming in there. And that now actually puts up Van Thielen. At the moment it's at 35 seconds, and that is only because you can only add it at 5-second intervals, so it might continue to get worse than that. But that is a huge drop. And here is a nice little squabble going on. Novikov versus Matt York, and then it looks like Jonathan Clifford right behind them. I'm pretty sure it is, but he is showing as having many more cars between them, so I'm not sure what's going on there. It's saying Novikov. He's there. Okay, the timing board's just sorted itself out. Not sure what on earth was going on with the old timing board, but it was showing for some reason as having lots of cars in between them, but it's not. It is Matt York, Novikov, and then Clifford. Nice little squabble going on. Oh, and here we go. Right. Incident involving car number 15 and 95 on lap 16. 15-second penalty for car number 15, and that is Alan Drake Cruz causes an incident in the hairpin. So that'll be turn 2. So 15-second penalty coming through at the moment for that one. Van Thielen has jumped into the pits. Oden's now having an absolutely stellar battle going on. These two slowing themselves right down. They are starting to fall into the clutches of Matt York and his following party. But car number 69 and 11, so that is Hoden's, and then it is car number 11 of Makowski. They are absolutely squabbling it out. And at the moment, though, that Mustang just about holding on to it, but Makowski is looking very quick, but he's going to have to be careful. He's going to have Matt York right on the back of him any second. This huge train of cars building up behind them. That was a big old move there, I think. A bit of a mistake, possibly from Makowski. I think he was starting to feel the pressure from behind, maybe just trying to work out if he could brake super late, but it didn't quite work. And this is where Podens is going to have the advantage. You can see that huge train of cars all the way back. I think you can see Tadic, Kevin Niles as well in the background. Is that Hanowitz involved in this one as well? Here we go. This battle between the two of them, they both have 10-second penalties. So how this finishes on the track as well will make a big difference to how it is actually going to be post-race. Even with the 10-second penalties, they'll still be battling for a position, just not necessarily 19th position. So going back up to Podens. Podens and Makowski seem to have broken away through that final turn, and they are just about pushing forward. They'll be very pleased with this, running in 12th place at the moment. Obviously the drivers in front with penalties as well. Cruz is possibly within the clutches with that 15-second penalty. Makowski still looking super racy, puts his nose to the inside, backs away, but does definitely close up there through turn 2. And we're down towards Palmer now. Who is going to be more committed? They both go all the way out the right-hand side before throwing it back into the left. Who's going to use the white stuff? They both do. And in the back as well, that little battle still rages on. It's only going to take the smallest mistake, I think, and Makowski is going to be able to try and push through and take back a position. Double checking there's nothing else on track that is even closer than the one we're keeping an eye on, but this seems to be the way to go. I'm going to jump to Makowski. You see the squabble going on behind him as well. He's really heating up. Novikov still trying to get that position, doesn't want to just take it after the penalty. He wants to get that position on the track. Let's see if we can get the dashboard shot. That's not the dashboard shot. That's not the dashboard shot. That's the splitter cam. There's the dashboard shot. You get an idea of how little Makowski can see, and he looks to the inside there. Doesn't quite get it done through Nelson. I don't think he really expected the road to open up the way it did and tried to go for the opportunity, but now holds onto it through the bomb hole. A little bit of opposite lock there as they come through. Now for Coram. kind of one of these corners where you're kind of half braking, half accelerating, and then you're back on the brakes again, trying to get it done through the final turn. Now, who's going to get the better exit? A little bit of soaring on the wheel. You can hear the rear wheels light up, but just look at the way the Mustang anchors up and goes for it absolutely ridiculously fast. Even in the wet, that car seems to have absolutely fantastic speed. Lots of opposite lot there from the Aston. Mikowski giving it absolutely everything. Again, closes up here through Montreal. What can he do now down towards Parma? It's going to be super close. Just under 9.5 minutes left of the race. Both of them with slightly obscure lines there through Parma. I don't think either of them took the ideal line that they really would have wanted. But you can really hear the traction control working its absolutely best to try and keep the car in the right kind of position, trying to stop those whacking great rear tyres lighting up. I mean, they might have wets fitted, but it is not going to make too much difference to tractions. The circuit is so wet, as soon as you look even slightly off the dry line, anywhere that's not the racing line is absolutely sodden with water. No massive awful puddles, but it is still looking very, very moist out there. Again, they fly through this part of the circuit. Are we going to see anything here? No. Again, Kristen Podens does what he needs to do. Keeps the car going. Matt York still having an absolute squabble. Novikov and Clifford. Novikov makes a little bit of a mistake. Just about manages to recover it. Back onto the black stuff just before it needs to turn in. Could have been disastrous for him, though, if he hadn't got that car back on the tarmac where he wanted it to be. Has a little look to the inside now. Can he do anything? Murray's one of those corners where you really do almost start from a complete standing start. And the Mustang's incredibly good at getting themselves going again in a straight line. The Aston does hold on. And in the back as well, we've got Kevin Niles now versus Tadic. This is one to keep an eye on. After the 20-second penalty, but he's not going to roll over and let the position go easily. Kevin Niles does look to the inside, can't quite make it work. Again, this is the part of the circuit where he's going to be slightly weaker. He is going to have to just try and hold on to the back as close as possible until he gets to the Bentley straight. 4 corners to go until he can mount a straight line attack and then see if he can push through. Not sure about everyone at home, but I am really, really enjoying the addition of the Mustang here on ACC. It is lovely to see. Always good that still this late into the game's life cycle, we're still getting updates, still getting cars, still getting circuits. And here we go. This is where we might start to see the Mustang really, really stretch its legs, as it were. He's having a little look, but he's not going to be close enough. And I don't think he's going to be silly enough to try and do it in under braking. No, he's not. So we have another incident coming in. It's a bit of a multi-incident. Car number 11, 65, 369 on lap 24. 10-second penalty for car number 369 and no further action for everyone else involved. So Alex Novikov, that is going to be a 10-second penalty for Novikov. So from what we were just looking at a minute ago, Novikov having a great battle, and here we go. Actually, here's the pass. Kevin Niles coming past Tadic on the road, gets it done. Tadic tries to go back to the inside, but just about manages to slow the car. Oh, now car number 223 with a yellow flag. Let's see if we can grab that one. Car number 223. That was Fernandez. So Fernandez has gone off. Back on the replay. What happened here? So this is coming down into Brundle and Nelson, I believe. And there's a Ferrari off. Oh, and he just goes wide. Tags the grass. And away they go. You can just see how little grip these tyres have once they are off the tarmac. Just no grip whatsoever. Trying to get the car back together, and huge loss of time. Did sort of manage to hold on to it to a certain extent and not cause too many issues for anyone else. But yeah, that was very, very unlucky. I wonder if those tyres are possibly not feeling the way they were earlier on in the race. Right, things going on. Well, a moment ago it said Delphante was having a real battle, but he's not. Someone who is having a real battle, though. Thomas versus Jardier. Michael Thomas for Wild Things Racing, trying to hold off the might that is Jardier. And actually, after our chat with him last week, he did say that since he's been doing some real-world racing, he has become a lot braver and more aggressive in his driving style, which I think is a real thing you do see. And speaking of which, he does put his nose to the inside. Again, this is only going to be on the road. He'd have to try and get ahead by 5 seconds to actually gain the position after the race. But again, it is the racing glory. Doesn't matter if you've got a 5-second penalty or not. You want the positions on the road. You want to prove that you are fastest on the circuit. And at the moment, Michael Thomas is going to be pushing forward pretty hard. And I think we are going to see him inherit 4th place. Oh, kind of a triple 2 has now gone off. That is Bjonovic. Let's jump back and see what's going on there. So he is, or was, in front of Alan Drake Cruz. And that's down at turn 1. Snap of oversteer. Hits the grass and just goes on a bit of a long ride. Not able to get the car under control. But is he rejoining? Yes, rejoining, but I think decided to rejoin a bit further down the track as opposed to trying to just jump back immediately into the racing line. Probably a smart move. But good recovery from that one. So just under 3.5 minutes left of the race to go. Michael Thomas still holding off the mighty Jardier. Delphante 5 seconds ahead of everyone else at the moment. Then Valentine Barrier, Aidan Walsingham, but obviously with a 20-second penalty coming in. So we will see him drop down. Then Remy Papin, Thomas, Jardier again with another penalty. Josh Waring, Torregrossa, Znotins and Cruz sadly does have a big penalty. And then Busov in 11th. So Busov is probably going to see themselves jump up. But there we go. Jards has gone through. Again, probably Thomas is thinking to himself, not worth fighting this out too much, because I'm going to get the position back in post-race. As long as he can stay within 5 seconds of Jards, he hasn't got anything to worry about. Josh Waring and Torregrossa. Now, this is one that seems to be going all the way to the line. BMW versus Porsche. G Liga Esports Elite versus Winning Rush GP. But the main thing is, it is driver versus driver in 2 incredibly different cars that are somehow able and balanced to be almost identical in lap times. They were both doing mid 152s last time round. There's about 2 minutes of the race left to go. These two squabbling it out nicely. Michael Thomas is about a second behind Jardier at the moment, so still well within range to gain a position post-race. Hodens, who is still in front of Makowski. These two have been squabbling for ages, and I imagine Makowski is starting to think to himself, can I just please look at something different? Probably absolutely deaf from listening to the back of that Mustang as well. Thunderously loud. I would say it's been a reasonably clean race for how wet it has been and sort of how unordinary, out the ordinary this circuit is. But there is a lot of penalties out there. There's so many on the board. I think it's because they've been coming in after people's pit stops, so people haven't been serving them in the pits. They've ended up taking them all the way to the end. I think Matt York's probably got added literally as he was in the pit, and so then wasn't able to select that yes, he would do them. What can happen here, though? Can Makowski do anything? Can he hold on to the back? Don't think he can. Think this might end up being the penultimate lap of the race as well. Can he do anything here? Makowski again on the hunt, looking for something. Can he do anything into turn 2? He's going to be super close. Is he going to throw a late dive up the inside? They both move on to the wet stuff. That's the first time that Podens has gone proper defensive into turn 2. Had to come off the racing line into the wet stuff to try and get it done. You can see the amount of water spraying up from the tyres. How on earth they're not aquaplaning all over the place, I have no idea. Obviously, the wet tyres doing their job absolutely perfectly. The race timer has come to 0. So, when this man crosses the line, when Eric Delfante comes across the line, it will be the final lap of the race. I don't think it's going to go checkered yet. It shouldn't go checkered, as far as I'm aware. But sometimes the game does some proper weird old things. It is checkers. It is going to be checkers. So Delfante comes across the line and on the road wins it, coming home in first place. Valentine Barrier coming home, followed by Aidan Walsingham. But obviously with that penalty, it's actually going to be Remy Papin that then brings it home in third place. Absolutely fantastic. I think it's the first time we've had one of the Mustangs on the podium this time round, this season. Race is still going on there. We'll jump back. Waring versus Torregrossa. Sorry, Waring. Waring does just about do it. Holds on to the position. And then further down the order, where has our battle gone that we were having earlier on? It wasn't this one. It was just in front of them, I think. It was Makowski and Podens. That was it. That one goes all the way to the lines. Podens just about manages to hold on to it ahead of Makowski. Obviously, the actual order is going to change in just a moment or two. But huge shout out to Eric Delfante for once again dominating a race pretty much start to finish. It was only during the pit stops that he ever had any time where he wasn't obviously in the lead. Valentine Barrier, another great race from him as well. Started in, I think it was third. No, it was second place, wasn't it? So manages to hold on to that. Aidan Walsingham will be very disappointed with his penalty. So will Giardier. But still some drivers out there that have not quite finished yet. Vidic coming across the line. Vining as well. Fernandez, Delebra. A huge shout out to everyone this evening that managed to make it across the line. We will now have a quick look at the results as they were as they crossed the line. So that is the race all done. And that is the time. That is it. Now it is now reset. It has sorted itself out. So we can now have a bit of a read through and we can go through who did what. While hopefully we get some people stacking up in the Discord for a bit of a chinwag with me. You'd like to think people will be brave enough again to come and join me. Hopefully. Let's quickly give them a little bit of a poke. But as you can see on screen at the moment, that is the result with the penalties added. That is where people have finished the race. So absolutely fantastic to see. We'll see if anyone wants to come and join us. But while we are waiting for them to join us, going to give a quick shout out to Driver 61, obviously one of our main sponsors, and to our patrons who actually chose this circuit. So blame them if you didn't enjoy it. But here we go. We have got someone coming in into the box for a quick chat. So let's go over to a slightly better looking screen. There we go. We should be there. And let's grab them in for a proper chinwag. Eric Delfante, yet another absolutely fantastic race from you. Led it the whole way through, basically. You didn't sound like you were that keen on Snetterton, but here you are. Absolutely smashing it, mate. Great race.
Thanks. Good evening, everyone.
Let's just make sure that's working. Sorry, had a bit of a wobble.
You hear me?
There we go. Yes, no, everyone can hear you. That's fine. One of the things wasn't appearing on the screen. So it was all a bit choppy change post-race with penalties that came in, as I imagine you probably saw from your position in the race car. You could see people letting you know what's going on. But you and Barrier managed to keep your noses clean and the two Hondas here in the wet at Snetterton seem to be pretty dominant force. How was the car underneath you? Did it feel pretty good, or was it just pure driver skill in this one?
I think both. I think the car is always very fast in these conditions, and P1 Peugeot is clear that it is a good car. So yeah, I think I have it both. But I was also very happy about my driving, especially in quali. I did very good laps, especially the last one.
Yeah, I think your lap time, I think it was, looking at it now, yeah, you were just shy of 3/100ths of a second quicker
Yeah,
than anyone else, which is massive when it comes to qualifying. Like normally we're sort of looking at it, and like the top 20 cars are within a second of each other, and you're nearly you're point 0.3 of a second quicker than everyone else in quali. So it was an absolute monster. So you had actually had the fastest sector in sector 2 and 3. So overall, yeah, really sort of it has been a very dominant race weekend for you this time round. I'm
thanks.
trying to think where we're going to next. I did look a moment ago, and now my brain has completely lost all sense of everything. Where are we going to next? Valencia next time round. Yet another kind of reasonably newer circuit. Um, how are you feeling about Valencia? Do you think you can continue your tier one domination?
I think if he's hot with hot temps, it's more difficult for the car. But if it's colder like this one, I think it can be good. I think the car can adapt well at the track because it had a lot of traction. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those circuits where I think you should be able to get it to work. And I think looking at the maths, pretty sure now you are going to be leading the championship after this because obviously you came into this, you were 26 points behind Aidan Walsingham.
Yeah.
And now with his penalty, Walsingham finished 8th this evening. Obviously, your worst result has been a 7th. And it's, now you've picked up another pole position. So you've definitely jumped him. You are now going to be leading the championship going into sort of the final third of the championship as well. So super strong effort from you. It seems that we're getting quite acquainted at this point. We've had a fair few chats at this time.
Yeah, but it's never easy.
No, I mean it's always a masterclass to look for. You get loads of love in the chat. People are always right behind you. But I think it is kind of quite nice to see somebody else coming in and really sort of putting a bit of fear into the Veloce boys because the Veloce cars have usually been the sort of dominant force when it comes to Apex Online Racing, but it's very nice to see someone else coming in and yeah, sort of firmly putting their foot in the door and saying, "Step aside, lads. This it's my time." So yeah, Eric Delfante, absolutely fantastic, mate. It's been wonderful to talk to you again.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Right. And someone we haven't spoke to at all yet this season, we're going to have a little bit of a chat with, is Mr. Remy Papin. Remy Papin, third place in the Mustang. Absolutely fantastic.
Yay!
Did you see it happening? Did you feel it in your bones, or was it just a case of it all came together just right in the race?
No, I wasn't expecting anything when I came here. I know for a fact that the Mustang is not the fastest in the rain, but yeah, the quality was really good, and I've been really, really lucky to avoid Georgia incident. So yeah, at the end, very, very happy with this result.
Yeah, I mean, even in the wet, the Mustang, especially down the back straight, the Bentley straight, it looked monstrously quick once it sort of got itself going. Once it managed to finally get the rear tyres to grip and go, there was a couple of times we were looking over the rear wings of cars and just watching the Mustang gobble up the tarmac as it came thundering up behind them. But yeah, I imagine it's a little bit skittish when it comes to basically the entire infield and then that sort of like final couple of corners, sort of through the bomb hole and then through the final two turns. I imagine it's a bit of a handful.
Yeah. It's really hard to keep up with the guys in the tight section. But yeah, when I managed to get a good exit, I once get very side by side with Aiden, so almost passed him on track. So yeah, very, very happy with my pace today, and yeah, looking forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, even without the penalties, for other drivers and stuff, simply the fact that you are by far the quickest Mustang. The only other one is where are we looking now? Where's my timing screen gone? It's Podens, all the way down in 11th place. So quite a long way back. So really showing that you sort of grabbed that thing by the scruff and dragged it across the line and did a very nice job. Is there anyone you want to give a bit of a shout out to? Because I think this is the first time we've had a chat in the comms booth since it's
Yeah. I
just
think
been me.
it's my second podium. I think I did one last season. But yeah, shout out to the G-League team with my teammates Josh Waring, finished 6th today. Podence as well in the Mustang, Ritis, and Damian Bosk. So yeah, shout out to them guys. And yeah, let's see the next races.
Yeah, it should be really, really good stuff going forward. I'm just having a quick look now. Yeah, so you were 9th in the championship coming into this round. It should see you bump up the order a fair old way, I think. Some other drivers around you that were in front of you in the championship haven't had the best evenings. So, Toro Grosso didn't have the best evening. And Alan Drake Cruz obviously ended up being quite far back. He's back in 13th when he crossed the line this time round. So, yeah, should see you jump up a fair few positions. So you should be sort of nice and securely inside the top 10 in the championship, which in Tier 1 is a serious achievement. Because
Yeah, thank
you're
you.
surrounded by some very high talented drivers. So thank you ever so much for joining me. I've actually, for once, I've got all 3 drivers willing to have a chat with me. So this is a
Nice.
miracle.
Really good.
So,
Thank you for your work.
No worries,
See
mate. It's
you.
an absolute pleasure watching you guys race. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Valentine Barrier, 2nd place. The Hondas were dominant this evening. Talk us through your race a little bit.
Yeah, hello. Well, my race was a bit weird in terms of pace because in the first stint, I was quite a lot slower than Eric Del Fante for most of the first stint, and then in the second stint, I was keeping up with him and faster than him on some of the laps. So I'd say maybe there was a chance to get him if I would have keep up with him in the first stint, but otherwise, I'm still happy with P2. So not much happened, really, in my race.
Yeah, I don't think we actually had you on the stream that much. There was a couple of times we had you on, mainly earlier on in the race when you had the 2 Veloce boys squabbling around behind you quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then just kind of out of nowhere, they almost basically took themselves out of the race for a little while. So kind of gave you a little bit of breathing room. But I mean, yeah, it was a fantastic finish coming across the line in 2nd place, obviously in some very, very challenging conditions. Did you have any fear about Remy Pepin catching you up in the great big American monster?
Actually, at the end of the first stint, when I was quite slow, yeah, he looked like he was catching me a little bit, but he was still like over 3 seconds back. So I was not too worried, no.
Fantastic to hear. I was having a quick chat a moment ago with Del Fante, and he was saying that he thinks the Honda should be pretty good at Valencia next time round. Are you feeling fairly confident going into Valencia? Is it a circuit you've got much experience with?
Yeah, and I think it's a track that should suit the Honda pretty well because the Honda, the strongest point of the Honda is the low speed corner exits. It's really good there, and there's plenty of those at Valencia, so it should be good.
Yeah, pretty much all the way through sector 1 and 2, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
like, no, it's just back and forth, left, right, over and over again.
Yep.
So if you can get the car to grip up through there, absolutely fantastic. So hopefully going to see some pretty exciting stuff from you all next week. I'm just trying to have a little look at the championship now. So before this, you were in 3rd place in the championship. Obviously outscored Aiden this evening. I think you're possibly still going to be in 3rd place, but I know the top 2 have swapped. I'm rubbish at maths, though, so I might be completely wrong on that one. You might jump ahead of Aiden, possibly.
All right, well,
so
gotta keep it going.
yeah, I mean, like it's a massive jump up on everyone behind you. Terra Grossa behind you, Van Thielen and Jardier. Obviously, you outscored all of them who were just behind you in the championship. So exactly what you want, keeping yourself inside that top 3. And again, that is nothing to sniff at here in Tier 1. You can't get any quicker. So, but somehow you all do. You somehow all come back and with more extra pace every single time. And it's been normally the summer season can be a little bit hard work sometimes, but everyone this season, including yourself, has put in some fantastic racing for us. So it's been very, very nice to see. Although you wouldn't know it's been the summer season, judging by the in-game weather we've had for the last 2
Oh yeah.
rounds.
Well, I definitely noticed the summer season with how much sweating I was doing this race.
Yeah. Whereabouts in the world are you based? Let's just get an idea so everyone knows how hot it probably is.
I'm in France, near Le Mans, so it's kinda north, kinda west of France.
They're still toasty. Still very toasty. It's going to be toasty.
Oh yeah,
isn't it?
today it was 32 degrees, and tomorrow
Oh,
it's apparently gonna be 36. So
no, that's far too hot. That's awful. I mean, it was pushing 30 in the UK today, and
Mhm.
I am fully one of those people that's like, no, as long as it's dry, I don't care how cold it is. Just let it be dry. That's all I need. I'm happy to put a coat on. I've got plenty of coat. I'm a Brit, so I've got plenty of coats. But right, Valentine, thank you ever so much for joining us. Is there anyone you want to give a quick shout out to just before we call it a night?
No, not really.
Not really. Cool. Shout out to
Not
yourself.
really.
Shout out to the Honda as well, because
Yeah,
you
good car
two
in the
work.
wet.
Yeah, you two work very well together. So fantastic. Thank you
Right.
ever so much for joining us, mate.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Right, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. It was a big old race, and now I can finally have a quick run through how the top 10 worked out in the end. So Delphate came across the line in pole position, Valentine Barrier second, Remy Papin third, Michael Thomas fourth, Giardier in fifth, Josh Waring in sixth. Seventh place was Torre Grossa, eighth was Aidan Walshingham after his penalties, ninth was Nottins, and 10th was Buzov. So fantastic race for everyone. Lots of shouting out in the chat. Do appreciate it, an absolute massive amount. Yeah, thank you ever so much for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow for Tier 2. Same time, same place. And that, again, is Tier 2 Snetterton in the wet. It's going to be another wet one. Bye, guys.